Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Third live show of the day. Of course, Arsenal played today. We had a watch along for that and a match reaction. We won today, 1-0 against AC Milan, kept a clean sheet. They won the penalty shootout, but we got to see a lot of different players today. Max Daumann, we saw the debuts of Zubimendi and also Nørgaard and Kepa as well, who saved 3 penalties in the shootout. We got to see Reiss Nelson, who actually looked good in that game. We're going to talk about him in terms of the transfer aspects in this one, and obviously a lot of other standards. So make sure to check out the live shows for that one to get the reaction for the game. So that's the first one done. 4 more games for pre-season to go before we get to the real business, and that is the Premier League season. So we are hoping we will be ready by that point. Today's game, you could tell, the players were okay, but obviously the fitness is not as high as we want it to be. So when are the other new players going to join us? As I said, Kepa, Zubimendi, and Nørgaard all played today. Always great to see new players in the team. But who else is going to join them in the next game against Newcastle, which is going to be played on Sunday, and then we'll play on Thursday against Tottenham. So let's start with Cristhian Mosquera. So this is what Sky Sports have reported today. Cristhian Mosquera is with the Arsenal squad in Singapore. A formal announcement of his transfer from Valencia is expected soon. So the Mosquera deal is done. He will be our officially our 5th signing on the transfer window. As we've talked about this week, the leaked photos already been spread around. Everyone has seen them. He's already been doing the interviews with Arsenal, and he has arrived in Singapore earlier today. He's been with the squad, according to Sky Sports. Said they didn't show him at all today, so maybe he's not in the stadium, but he is part of the squad. So for Mosquera, you'd expect him to start training as early as tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And then by the time we play on Sunday, by that point, Mosquera will have around 4 or 5 training sessions with Arsenal before that game. So that will be great to have Mosquera there. Obviously, today's game against AC Milan, Timber was not there. He's not 100% fully fit yet. And Gabriel was obviously not there as well. So Gabriel played 45 minutes on the weekend against Watford, but it just said that he felt a little niggle and he's not 100% yet. So at the moment right now for these upcoming preseason games against Newcastle and Tottenham, we are not in a position yet to count Gabriel as part of that, and maybe even Timber. So defensively, we are kind of short as of now. Calafiori played really well against AC Milan earlier today. Kiwior, for me, really, really well. Make sure to check out the match reaction if you haven't yet. I talked about all of those players. Kiwior's really good today as well. Lewis Kelly, we know what to expect. Ben White, we know what to expect. Saliba, we know what to expect as always. And then obviously now without Gabriel and Timber, because of they've not 100% recovered from those injuries, you still need someone else there. So Mosquera will definitely help in terms of that, having someone. I mean, even Zenchenko started today, but we're not sure about his future. But it would be great to have someone like a Mosquera there to back up Saliba, because Saliba played today. We had to take off Saliba and bring in a 15-year-old. Great to see Salmon playing. But there was no one else on the bench. It is either you play Saliba for 90 minutes or you give Salmon a bit of game time, a 15-year-old. So I'm great to see him, but obviously we need some more options defensively, and hopefully Mosquera will be part of that game against Newcastle. I think he will. I think he might actually, maybe come off the bench. I think he'll come off the bench, and maybe halftime, and Saliba will start the game again, and then Mosquera comes on at halftime. But really looking forward to it because defensively at the moment we're really short in terms of numbers, and you haven't even really talked about, Ben White is just recovering from a long-term injury as well. He hasn't really had a lot of actual matches to play. Calafiori, we have to protect him. Played really well the 45 minutes today, but you can't play him for more than like 70, 80 minutes. No, you have to also protect his minutes during preseason. So Mosquera, he has joined up with the team, as Sky Sports have reported. So let's see when he's going to make his debut and how his debut is going to be. Now, today's debut is actually really good. Kepa was really good today. He saved 3 penalties in the shootout. Really, really good. And also, I mean, in terms of the game, AC Milan didn't have a lot of shots. So we didn't really get to see Raya and Kepa saving too many shots. But Zubimendi, the one thing that I really like with Zubimendi, he's one of the best passers of the ball. So he'll attempt to do other things that other players wouldn't do. He's going to lose the ball when he's trying those passes sometimes, but there's a couple that went through and you're like, oh, if you have Gyokeres there with those through passes from Zubimendi and Odegaard, he'll really, really enjoy himself. So great to see him there. Nørgaard in the first half, he was okay. He was getting in some really interesting positions. He wasn't just staying back as a number 6. He was going over to other positions. But again, check that in the match reaction. For this one, let's talk about the transfers. So Mosquera will be next up, hopefully followed by Gyokeres. Now, speaking of, let me do this. Speaking of Gyokeres, what's the latest on Viktor Gyokeres? Now, according to Record Portugal and Sasha Tavalieri as well, this is what they have to say about that. So the first one, Arsenal expected to complete a deal for Viktor Gyokeres today, with all documents being signed between the clubs. So as of now, obviously we want him to have as many training sessions as possible. Obviously, I personally don't think he's going to play against Newcastle. Today is Tuesday, because the medical has not happened yet. Even if the medical happens on Wednesday, and then because it's usually like a 2-part medical, so that could be Wednesday and Thursday. I mean, he might be on the bench for the Newcastle game. He might still get 2 training sessions. So maybe it's not, but I'd say like maybe 70% he makes his debut against Tottenham, 30% he makes his debut against Newcastle this weekend. So today's Tuesday. There's still a long time between now and our next game. So if he signs today and then completes his medical by Thursday, and then Arsenal maybe announce him over the weekend, he might appear in that game against Newcastle. So, yeah, absolutely fine. That is according to Sasha. He says he's going to sign his contract today. And Record Portugal says Arsenal and Sporting are exchanging the final documents to finalize the transfer of Viktor Gyokeres. Once these legal details are completed, exit will be made official immediately. Immediately. Arsenal usually don't announce players immediately. So unless they want him to play in that Newcastle game, then they're going to announce him immediately. So that means we're expecting 2 announcements this week. We're expecting the Mosquera announcement tonight or tomorrow. Maybe not tonight because we just played a game, but you're going to get a Mosquera announcement, I'd say, tomorrow. And then we're also going to get a Gyokeres announcement before that Newcastle game. And then we'll have more new signings. Obviously, after Gyokeres, it's 6 new signings. But because Madueke cannot play in this Asian tour and Gyokeres had not been completed yet and Mosquera had not been completed yet, in that starting lineup today, we only really had Nørgaard in terms of a new player. All the rest was still the same, especially the forward line. It's just the same as we know. Martinelli, Havertz, and Saka. So there wasn't really anything to, something different to look forward to. Obviously, I want Havertz and Martinelli to improve because they're still going to play games next season, so you need them to improve. Odegaard didn't start himself as well, so he came on in the second half, but let's see how it goes. But Gyokeres, I cannot wait for this guy to join Arsenal. In case you're just joining and you didn't watch the AC Milan game against Arsenal earlier today, the first 30 minutes of that game, the number of times, you remember that connection between Bukayo Saka and Ben White on the right wing, where Saka would run and then Ben White would overlap and then Saka would put a through pass and then White will cross the ball. We did that so many times today with Saka and Ben White on that right side, but as always, there's no one in the box. Gyokeres will be watching that game and he'll be licking his lips. He'll be like, my goodness, look at all these crosses from Saka and Ben White and, low-driven crosses. There's a couple that landed on Declan Rice, a couple landed on Havertz in the second half, like 3 of them landed to Odegaard. Like, if Gyokeres has these chances, I'm 100. You see when I said I'm 100% convinced that Gyokeres is going to be an Arsenal player, I'm 100% convinced he's going to score a bunch of goals because it's not like we don't create chances. There are so many chances. Arsenal against AC Milan today, we had something like 24 shots. To those 24 shots, there was a couple from outside the box and a couple from corners, but there were so many others that are in and around the box from Trossard and Odegaard. And you're like, if Gyokeres is there, this one's a powerful shots. Like this is like 2-3 goals guaranteed every single game. I cannot wait for him to get involved. In the second half, there was so many times Odegaard had the ball and he was attempting those through passes, but it would go to Trossard and then maybe Trossard is a bit, gets bullied a bit and the ball goes away from him. Gyokeres will not get bullied like that. It's very powerful. Sometimes Zubimendi is trying the through ball to Merino, but Merino is not as quick as what Gyokeres would be. Sometimes, positioning. Havertz in the first half, Havertz in the first half, he was not even really staying in the box. He was going to the right wing, he was going to the left wing, he was coming back to the number 8 position. So you're basically left with no one in the box because Havertz is not a striker. That is not his position at all. Himself, even the way he plays, even if you watch him play, he's going to the right side. He's the one who's going to put in the crosses. Havertz himself created like a couple of good chances. One cross from the right side. They played well with Saka across the ball. I think that's the one that landed to Declan Rice, and then Declan Rice had a shot. It was blocked. Like if that is Gyokeres in that situation, that is a goal. And then second second half, Zubimendi and Odegaard, they were attempting a lot of through passes, and Martinelli was putting in crosses. Trossard was putting in crosses. We got 14 corners today as well. Like, if you just have someone who's waiting in and around the box, he's going to absolutely enjoy himself. He's going to get chances from all of those guys. So I cannot wait to see how many chances players like, Saka and Odegaard are going to create for this Gyokeres guy. So the final documents are being signed. Hopefully he can get a bit of game time against Newcastle over the weekend. That is what we are hoping will happen. And then, as I've said, the announcement will be made official immediately, so you wouldn't have to wait another week before it is made official. So that is great news in terms of Gyokeres. Now, I cannot wait for this guy to join Arsenal. Fabrizio had this to say about Eberechi Eze today. Eberechi Eze's camp remain in contact with Arsenal. So again, if you watch that game against AC Milan today, Arsenal is very good in terms of controlling the ball. Like, if you watch that game by the 15th minute, I just knew like the chances of us conceding a goal is very, very less, quite low, because of the way we are so in control of the game. Saliba and Calafiori were so comfortable. Nørgaard was so comfortable in midfield. I didn't see Raya the whole of the first half at all. Saka, using Saka, getting involved in the game. Like, we were so comfortable. Defensively, absolutely good. Goalkeeper, good. Kepa saved 3 penalties today, so looks like we also have a penalty expert. Great. 2 good goalkeepers. Defensively, fantastic. AC Milan didn't really have any chances, and that is a team that was without Timber, without Gabriel, without Lewis Kelly starting, without the new signing Mosquera, but our defense is still solid. Nørgaard was great in midfield. Declan Rice doing Declan Rice things, defending well and attacking well, getting into the box, making those blistering runs and all that, giant steps and all that, very, very good. But there was a couple of things that were missing. I know Noni was very good in the first half as well. The shots and all the technique and the dribbling and all that. Saka was fantastic. But you can tell something is missing. Every time, if you watch that game again, something is missing. Something is definitely missing. And it is something like an Ezri in the middle there. That is definitely still missing. Even if you have Gyokeres up front, there's still something that is missing in that middle of the park. Now, Rice is going to do his job. He's going to defend very well. He's going to get into the box and score chances and assist like that. But you're not going to ask Rice to do what Eze does. In the second half, Odegaard, we are using Odegaard throughout the game. So basically, that whole game, everything was going through Saka in the first half. If Saka was not going to get that ball, I don't know how we are going to get a goal. It was always going to go through Saka. When it goes to the other side with Martinelli, decision making from Martinelli once again today. Not the same as you compare with the right side. Trossard came on and Trossard was better than Martinelli today. So that is a problem. Odegaard came on the second half. I mean, I think he did okay in terms of, because everything, we were just passing to Odegaard to do everything for us. Literally everything. Odegaard and Saka, we were passing the ball to them to do everything for us today. First half and second half. Why? Why are we using the right side? Because we don't trust our left side, although Trossard got a couple of good chances and good chances created. But if you see, like, even in the first half, every single time someone has a decision to make, they pass the ball to Saka, not to Martinelli. That is just how it is, because they expect more from Saka. So we don't want that. We want to look at the left side and you're like, okay, we don't have to use the right side. Look at the left side as well. Ezri is there and someone else is there as well. Maybe Ezri comes in and makes Martinelli better in terms of the through passes on that side, because our right side has always looked very complete with Saka, even Ben White now being back and Timber sometimes being in that area, and also Odegaard and Nwaneri today, all those guys doing good work on the right side. But left side, a bit quiet. So that is why you need Ezri. There's definitely space for Ezri there to create. And we still need Martinelli to improve, by the way. I don't like his decision making in the forward area. So if you get Gyokeres there, you still need someone to create, because teams like Everton and teams like Fulham, the way they do when they come to the Emirates Stadium, they're just going to park the bus. We are going to expect the same from Burnley. We're going to expect the same from Sunderland this season. They're going to just come park the bus, and we don't want Gyokeres to be up front, frustrated and wondering where the ball is going to come from. No, we want to create many chances for him. Sometimes from Saka, sometimes from Odegaard, sometimes from Martinelli, sometimes from Trossard, sometimes from Rice, sometimes from Zubimendi, and sometimes from Eberechi Eze, hopefully. So Fabrizio says Eberechi Eze's camp remain in contact with Arsenal. So let's see how this one is going to go. I think this one is going to carry on until the end of the month and beginning of August. Obviously, we're not going to get Ezri tomorrow, especially if they are saying we need to sell players fast. We have to wait and see how that one goes, how many players we're going to sell, and when we're going to go back for Ezri or the negotiations. I mean, the negotiations are still going on, as the reports say, so that is good. So at least we're still going in for him, because we definitely need someone like an Ezri there. Our team is still not complete even with Gyokeres there. Now, we've also signed Madueke. I think is going to bring something. If Madueke brings something that we don't have, that will really help us. Because at the moment, there's definitely a couple of spots in that attacking area that needs upgrading. And if we get a good left winger, I can't see Martinelli starting, unfortunately. I want him to stay at Arsenal, but I can't see him starting that many games. I don't see Havertz starting that many games next season as well. So there's a couple of spots that need to be upgraded there for sure. And there's a lot of spots. So if Madueke can come and play well, he maybe even goes ahead of players like Trossard, who knows? So there's definitely a lot of opportunity there in terms of even the counter-attacking, the transitioning. We are a bit slow. Maybe Madueke will help in terms of the pace in the transitioning, all that. So hopefully we can get Ezri as well. But we do need to sell players according to reports. So which of these players are we going to sell? Now, according to Seth of Sky Sports, Reiss Nelson training with the Arsenal squad in Singapore. He actually played today, as Fulham continue to work on a deal. Talks between clubs of a loan deal with a permanent element attached. Nelson into final 2 years of contract, loan at Fulham last season, curtailed by hamstring injury in December. So if you watch the match reaction, we talked about Reiss Nelson. Reiss Nelson is a very, very funny player. For me, I'd already said I want Nelson to leave Arsenal like 2 years ago. At that time, Maitland-Niles and those other guys were leaving. I was like, yeah, I can't see him improving and all that. Actually, 3 seasons ago. But that season, I think he would have been sold, but he got an injury and he was out, so no one could buy him. And then he came back, and then he had a big impact as we were trying to win the title. He scored that big goal against Bournemouth. And then he got a new contract and he stayed. But that season that he stayed, he didn't really get too many opportunities. Whenever he played, he wasn't at the level of, Saka on that right side, or even Martinelli on that left side at that point. And then if you look at the loan spell that he's had, like the recent one against Fulham, unfortunately, he was injured. So there's nothing really that to go by there that we can say, okay, Fulham, look at the loan spell that Nelson had with you. Crystal Palace, look at this loan spell. Give us 20 million for this player. He had a very, very good loan spell. No, Fulham right now would tell Arsenal, we can't really buy him. He was injured for 6 months, and his performances are not really that good. That is the Nelson I know. He has potential, but not that great. But you watch him today, and you're like, this guy is playing really well. I watched him today. I was like, he was better than what Trossard and Martinelli were on that left wing for those first 70 minutes. And I was like, this player is fun. You'd watch him for like 2-3 games. He's doing all the right things. He's going to the left foot. He's not being predictable. Going to the left foot sometimes, crossing the ball, Odegaard had a couple of chances. Sometimes Nelson was very quickly cutting to his right foot, shot saved. He could easily have scored today. Today, Nelson, those minutes that he played, Nelson was on the pitch for 10 minutes. Okay, if he added time, total it's going to be 15 minutes. For those 15 minutes, Nelson was on the pitch today. He could easily have had an assist and a goal. He was very, very lively. And for only 10 minutes, he was very, very good. So then he asked, then why is no one really coming for him to buy him? Teams are asking for him on loan. Arsenal are not interested in keeping him for the last 3 years. Is it that he looks good like that for 2-3 games, and then by the time you get to September, is injured again, or is not looking lively again? I don't know, because teams are not. I've never really had 3 or 4 teams wanting Nelson. Right now, Fulham have refused to buy him. They only want him on loan. So it's a weird one. But today, Nelson, for that 10 minutes, he was one of our best players the whole game. So it's a bit of a weird one. But he's currently in Singapore, obviously. So Fulham are currently discussing a loan deal with him. So let's see if that is going to happen, and if you're going to move him or now. Unfortunately, you're not going to get any money if it's a loan deal. So that is not the player that we're looking to sell. Then unless Arsenal want to sell him and they don't want to loan him out, let's see. Fabio Vieira is obviously currently on holiday. Let's wait and see what is going to happen with him. Zenchenko is another one. We're waiting to see what is going to happen. For me, I'm not selling Kivio. Kivio is too good. Even today, the passes that Kivio has, the defensive ability, his penalty was quite terrible, though. But he's not a penalty taker. Kivio is a defender. His work is not to take penalties. His penalty was really bad, though. But everything else, he's the one who assisted Saka's goal today, Kivio, and the cross was like a Trent Alexander-Arnold cross or something. It was a very, very good cross to Saka. Fantastic first-time cross. Loved it. So for me, Kivio, unless you're paying 55 million, I don't want to hear anything about Kivio leaving Arsenal. So yeah, even the ones who are saying give Crystal Palace Kivio and then we get Ez and pay them some money, no, Kivio is not for sale. Especially now that Gabriel is not fully fit, you need players like that there. Calafiori, Kivio, we need them to stay fit and need them to be in the team because, we can't rush Gabriel back into this team. So that's the latest on Eze, on Mosquera, on Reece Nelson, and obviously Gyokeres too. I've been streaming a lot today, so I'm going to keep this at like 30 minutes. Let me take you guys' comments and see what you have to say. Let's see. How are you doing, Ike? Thank you for being here. Appreciate it as always. Today is Wednesday. Yeah, it is Wednesday, right? My goodness, you actually lose track of days. I think that Gyokeres thing, Bernard, has literally, I've even forgotten the days. Gyokeres signing for us, it is Wednesday. Thank you. I don't know why I thought it was Tuesday. Yeah, it is Wednesday. So, if it's Wednesday, then that's different. I don't know if Gyokeres is going to make that game against Newcastle then. Maybe on the bench, but definitely not starting. Kalapa says, "Us good. Nice seeing you again, Kalapa. Appreciate you. Same with you, Musa, as well. Same with you, Luke, as well." Musa says, "That's great news. Good to hear that. Welcome to Arsenal Mosquera." Yeah, very soon. I don't know if they're going to announce it today because Arsenal are currently in a different time zone at the moment. And tomorrow for Mosquera announcement, and it is too early for him. Sunday, says Amazon. I think so as well. I think it's too early. He'll need to train a bit, and we don't know if they've let him go yet. Sporting, they're still holding him hostage for a couple of more days. Probably tomorrow. Carter says no one can explain that how Havertz played poor performance. Yeah, I didn't see him for most of the game. Let's see. Again, and even when I saw him, he was not really playing up front. He was drifting to the right wing. So we already know he's not going to start next season. So we've talked about Eze. Michael, good afternoon from Liberia. I haven't heard anything of Eze. That's the latest update on Eze Chokon. Thank you, RK. Good evening. Good afternoon from River State, Nigeria. Thank you, Felix. Will Gyokeres debut against Newcastle on Sunday? Might, but I would say no. Yeah, if today is Wednesday, not Tuesday, then there's like a 10% chance he's going to play against Newcastle. Lyle says, do you guys have any plans for Martinelli leaving the club? Personally, no, unless you're giving us 70 million or something. And there's no one who's going to pay us 70 million right now, unless it comes out of nowhere. And we are not in a position to sell players. Again, as I've always said, Martinelli needs to improve on the attack, but there's some other stuff that he does well. But he's definitely not a starter though next season. He's definitely going to lose a starting spot on that left side. Even if Arsenal don't get a winger as of now, Trossard is ahead of him in terms of starting. The left side is not good. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a bit. The other side is very lively with Ben White running down the wing, and Odegaard doing those passes to Saka, and Nwaneri is there. But the left side is not the same. It's not the same. I can't wait for our star striker Gyokeres to start playing and banging the goals, like Matt says. Gabriel. Frederick says Odegaard is good, but too much turning around that delays our goals needed. Yeah, sometimes. So transitioning Odegaard is probably not your player. That's where now Eze would be good at that. So even Madueke is better at transitioning, like in terms of getting the ball and running with it quick. You just need Odegaard to make the final pass when it comes to that. Babatope says Madueke too can play right and left sides. If Madueke comes to us and plays that first 2 games of preseason and plays on the left side and he plays better than Martinelli, then Martinelli probably doesn't start against Man United. So it's going to be interesting to see that. Are we going for Eze really? That's the update from Fabrizio on Eze. Zenchenko is good today. Again, Zenchenko is not a bad player. Zenchenko is not the best defender, but in terms of technique and passing the ball and all that, Zenchenko is very good. But, if we need money, those are the few players that we can sell, players like Zenchenko. But I'm not waking up in the morning and thinking, oh, my God, have we sold Martinelli? Have we sold Zenchenko yet? We need to sell them. Now, I'm not like waking up praying that Zenchenko and Martinelli get sold. No. if we have enough money, there's no rush and you wait for the best offers. But if you need money, then those are the few players that you can sell. Players like Zenchenko and Lokonga didn't play today, so it's definitely going to be sold, obviously. Emmanuel says Martinelli is good. He just needs improvement, as you said. I suggest coaching staff need to sit him down to watch his videos on decision making. There's one where Havertz ran back and made a very good tackle. So that's another thing that Havertz does well. He might not be the best of finishers, but in terms of coming back and defending and doing all the dirty work, is very good. You probably want Havertz in a game against Newcastle where you're going to, be fighting and all that. You need Havertz in a game like that. Now, he came back and made a very good tackle, gave the pass to Martinelli, and then Havertz was making a very good run on the left side, no one marking him. Instead of Martinelli passing the ball to him, he went to shoot in between two players. That is the decision making I'm talking about. You need to be more, more active and more keep your head up, look at different things that you can do, obviously. Let's see. They're probably going to post the highlights. When is my Timber going to be fit? I need him against the Red Devils. Yeah, it's probably going to be fit by then. Next game, White looked very good today, so Timber should be okay. Gabriel is the one that I'm not 100% sure is going to be 100% by the Man United game. My feeling for Gyokeres is always good. I think he's going to score more goals due to the number of chances that we're creating always. Look at our wingers, Martinelli, Saka, and our midfielders. They are good. You're welcome, Francis. Thank you. Michael says, keep Zenchenko, please don't sell. Depends. We have a lot of injuries defensively. That's the problem. So we don't want to have a game like in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup and we're having to play Calafiori, having to play Gabriel. No. So Zenchenko could still be of use. I mean, all the players at Arsenal really love Zenchenko. In terms of dressing room, they usually say Zenchenko is the funniest player, is the one who makes people laugh. I mean, we want to win titles, we don't want the laughter, but obviously in terms of the dressing room, they usually say Zenchenko is the funniest player, is the one that always makes the jokes and all people always laughing, getting people from a bad mood to a good mood. So in terms of the dressing room, maybe he's a good player to have there. Maybe he wants to stay at Arsenal. I've never really thought Zenchenko wants to leave Arsenal. That's the other thing. It depends. For Zenchenko and players like that, for me, I'm looking at offers. I'm 50-50. I'd not be very sad if Zenchenko gets sold, but I'd not mind if he stays anyway. As long as if a good offer comes in, I'm talking about 28 million plus, then we can talk. Chelsea want to sell Sterling right now. Do you know how much Chelsea want for Sterling? Chelsea want 20 million for Sterling. Chelsea also want 100 million for Nicholas Jackson. If Sterling is 20 million, then I want 50 million for Trossard. If Sterling is 20 million, then you need to give me 40 million for Zenchenko. There's no way Chelsea are going to get 100 million for Jackson and 52 million for Madueke, and they're going to get 60 million for Mount and all these players that have moved on from Chelsea. And then if Chelsea are selling Sterling for 20 million after the last season's performances at Arsenal, Zenchenko had a very good season in the 2023 season, and Zenchenko is a very good player in terms of technique and all that. So I'm looking at 28 million plus. Appreciating Arsenal for the win, says Steve. Will Kepa compete for the number 1 position? He said that is what he said. He said he's going to come and compete for the position. But Raya is still very good. For me, Raya is the best goalkeeper in the league. But Kepa is good. I mean, he saved the 3 penalties, but that is not the game. In terms of the game itself, there's still a lot that is required for you to do. How are you going to handle the crosses in the air? How are you going to, move from your line in terms of if someone plays a through ball in the opposition team? How quick are you in terms of coming out and getting the ball? In terms of shot stopping, in terms of us, we use Raya as a defender. I hopefully don't see a lot of that next season, but that is what we do. Raya basically plays as a center back for us, but it has cost us a couple of goals when you lose the ball. Can Kepa do that? So all those things are very important. Now, Kepa, in terms of saving those penalties, that is very, very important for those cup competitions that Kepa is going to play, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. You're going to go to a penalty shoot at some time. He's going to be very helpful. And also as a number 2 goalkeeper, is a very good number 2 goalkeeper to have. So when Raya is not available, I don't mind having Kepa there. For 5 million, I think that was a good deal. But for me, Raya is the best goalkeeper in the league. So yeah, he's not going to be replaced right now. Mosquera, hey, it's me, Martin from Uganda. Do you see any possibility of us losing Trossard? Yeah, there is a possibility, Martin. Mosquera is on the team hotel after his flight from to Singapore, says Amazon. Good afternoon to you, Anu. Emma says, Glenn, well done on my side. Daumann was my man of the match. We talked about all those players in the match reaction. Make sure to check it out. But Max Daumann was very good, man. That guy's 15 years of age. 15. 15 I was in school worrying, sleeping at 8 p.m. because I had an exam the next day. This guy is playing for Arsenal. Let's see. You're welcome, Aliyu. Steve says, I can ask something. Which trophy should Arsenal win? Premier League. That's the one that we really want to win, Premier League. To me, I prefer Premier League than the first Champions League. Premier League, obviously, we want to win the Premier League. I mean, if you put them at the end and you tell me here is, the Champions League and the Premier League, and which one are you taking? I'm going to take the Champions League because we've never come anywhere once, literally, to win that trophy, the 2006 one. But that is something that people always talk about Arsenal, Arsenal have never won the Champions League. Arsenal have never won the Champions League. And it's been years, all those years we've never come close to winning the Champions League. And we've made a final once, even if you look at all the other teams from the other countries, the Ajax and the Benficas and the FC Portos, all of those guys have won it. They've reached a lot of finals. For us, we've never been a Champions League team. So if you give me a Champions League, I'm going to take it. But right now, today, I want us to win the Premier League. Yeah, Ali, they want 100 million for Jackson, and they're not even joking. So, and someone is hopefully it's not us. Chelsea have the way they sell their players. They know how to sell their players. They could easily end up getting 80 million for Jackson or something. Joseph, make sure to check the match reaction. I've posted it already, but we won 1-0. Did you see any improvement from last season? I did not expect to see any improvement in the first preseason game, to be honest. So, yeah, I'll have a better judgment of that when you get to play against, by the time we get to the Emirates Cup. For this first game, obviously, second half, we had like 2 15-year-olds on the pitch. We had first half in itself, we had, 5 or 6 players who are coming back from long-term injuries. So I did not expect Calafiori to be, a 10 out of 10 and Ben White to be a 10 out of 10, although they both played well. And then obviously it was trying something new. Calafiori next to Saliba. I don't think we've ever used that. Zenchenko's at left back. Nørgaard, first Arsenal game. Saka, we know what to expect, Rice, and then we also started Noni. So in terms of expecting or seeing improvements, my prediction for the game was 1-1 because I didn't think you're going to see anything too crazy in the first game of preseason. Teams usually lose. Like, Newcastle lost 5-0 against Celtic the other day. I think United drew with Leeds. And obviously the first preseason game is usually tough in terms of you just need players to get back fit. But if you're to push me and tell me if I saw any improvements, Ben White was good today. When he came back last time, he was struggling a bit, so he looked very sharp today. That is good. Saka is just Saka. Saka, we know what to expect from Saka. He was still very good as he always is. Nwaneri is still continuing to improve, so he's not going to be the same Nwaneri from last time. He's going to improve even more, so he looked sharp today. But in terms of the forward line, still a bit the same, we a lot of possession and a lot of chances actually, but not too many goals. No player ratings or depth because some players played 30 minutes, some players played 15 minutes, some players played 25, some players got subbed off at halftime. So yeah, and most of the players were also playing against different players from AC Milan because they also made a lot of subs. So it's tough to give a player ratings, especially for the first preseason game. Tough. But my player of the match was Saka, followed by Ben White and Nwaneri. So those 3 are the ones who stood out for me a lot. And then I also liked the performance from Calafiori. Calafiori and Ben White, one of them is in my top 3. Calafiori was really good today as well. And also when Daumann came in, he was very good. And then, I mean, players like Saliba, you expect that from Saliba. Like, there's a time Saliba ran like across the pitch to make a tackle and he did it. Players like Rice, you expect them to do that. But I think you're waiting for the second and third game to see how we do. I've watched the game. Arsenal played so well. Probably is the left winger. We're definitely lacking something there. We need to do something in that position. And also in terms of helping Odegaard on the pitch. Sometimes, not as much as people say, Odegaard is spinning around with the ball, is slowing us down and all that. And when Odegaard is not on that pitch, you don't have anything. When he came on in the second half, we created a lot more chances with Odegaard on the pitch. But when he was not there in the first half, we were really looking at Saka for everything. Pass the ball to Saka, pass the ball to Saka, pass the ball to Saka. Nwaneri was very good, but for him, he was like shooting the ball and doing all that. But for Odegaard, in terms of creation, obviously Odegaard is better than everyone else that we have in terms of just creating chances. But we need something. We need something else as well on the left side of Odegaard. Thank you for watching, Joseph. I appreciate it. So let's end it there. We'll do probably one more video. This is the third stream of the day. I've been doing a 4-hour stream the last 4 hours. So let's end it there. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you on the next